Want to level up your leadership? Welcome to The Boss Coach.
A dash of cool, a splash of class. The Boss Coach leads, no time to pass. Oh, the Boss Coach, the leader's guide.
Yeah. See, back to the normal intro theme. You missed it, right? Now remember, if I get up to, let's say, 100 followers, I'm going to make a whole new theme song with a different genre. Maybe ska, maybe polka, Nickelback. I don't know, anything's on the table. So hey boss, how's business? Have you done a competitor analysis lately? You got to know if you're keeping up with the Joneses, right? What are they doing differently? Is there anything you can learn there? Always good to keep your eye on the other players in the game. So thanks as always for clicking and listening. My name is Patrick McGranahan. Welcome back to The Boss Coach. If you're new to the show, check out the podcast trailer. That is episode 100. Gives you more background on what The Boss Coach is all about, what I'm all about, why I'm here doing this, etc., etc. It's just good to know what you're up against from the very beginning. But let's jump right into today's topic. It is leading up, sometimes called managing up. And what exactly is that? So, as far as I can tell, it kind of started with Michael Useem's 2001 book, Leading Up, appropriately named, How to Lead Your Boss So You Both Win. Now, the ability to influence and guide those above you is essentially what leading up is. But it's not really just a coping tool for a bad manager, right? Like you're in a situation where your leader's not good, so you need to kind of babysit them. That's really not what leading up is all about.
After all this time, you think you'd understand that you're the lowest of the low.
Yeah, the lowest of the low.
Aren't you a box boy too, Jorge?
Oh yeah, but he's my box boy.
Yeah, I'm his box boy.
Your love for him concerns and confuses me.
So full disclosure, I'm bad at leading up. I'm sorry to admit that, but I think it's mostly because I'm conflicted about it. I don't like playing games, and leading up feels like the gamification of the org chart relationships, and that just doesn't sit well with me. But I am good at forming relationships in general, just not using them for my own personal advantage. So that's something I am working on in my own journey as well. So along with being really conflicted about it, well, that leads me to want to learn more and really make more of an informed decision about whether leading up is a viable leadership tool. Now, proponents say that leading up allows individual contributors to find their own seat at the table. It showcases initiative. It's really more collaborative. It lets everyone get a say in how things turn out. It shows you have good EQ. It builds trust. So I see why there's a lot of good things about it. But we're going to take a bilateral approach here. Let's look at the case for and the case against leading up and come up with our own conclusion on how we feel about it so we know whether it's really relevant to today's workplace, because it was written almost 25 years ago. But first, let's define it a little better. So Marty Moore, known as your CEO mentor, great guy, please look him up, reminds us that leading up is really for the purpose of enhancing performance, not just to feather your own nest. He makes that very clear from the very beginning. This is here to make the company run better, to make the job go better, and not just to make things better for yourself. So we're talking about differentiating between assertive leadership and brown-nosing, because I know that when many of you think of the term leading up, you immediately think of some of your peers maybe that have really exhibited brown-nosing tendencies, and that's how they get favor with those above them. That's really not what leading up is all about, although that tactic can be used for nefarious means. And really, brown-nosing is just the person who's fixated with interacting with their upline and not their downline. They kind of ignore the people that report to them in order to gain more favor with those above. I've known a few of these people. I'm sure you have too. The bad news is it kind of works. I know somebody in a former position referred to this person as ski tips, because they used to say that they were always out over their ski tips and would ask for help. Now, this person was not my boss, but we did interact with many people that did report to good old ski tips. So what that meant was Ski Tips was always asking his, not only people that reported to him, but also partner departments and peers to basically do his homework for him because he didn't know what he was doing. And that's not really meant to be a critical analysis. It's just an observation. He was very upfront about not knowing how to do most of the things he was trying to do or how to accomplish it when he was asking for help. But most of this energy was spent towards reporting to his upline about how great things were going and how much he was learning, in which case then Mr. Ski Tips got promoted a couple times. So yeah, brown nosing can work, but I definitely don't recommend it for long-term growth or as a viable and scalable solution for your own promotions. All right, so what does non-brown nosing look like? What is leading up on the good side? It means that you know your boss and their goals. You can see around corners for them, anticipate their needs, and provide solutions proactively. You're all working for the company, not for each other. Here's one example. So let's say you go to your boss, say, hey, we've got this big product rollout coming up. Do you want me to set up a meeting with marketing so we can kind of get them in tune? Great. That doesn't mean your boss would never think of it. It just means that you're doing your job by saying, hey, I see around this corner. We really need to get in front of this with our marketing team so they'll be ready for the product rollout. So again, you're working as a team together toward the same ends. Going back to Michael Useem, he outlines 3 pillars of upward management. And it goes like this. Number 1, understand your boss. So like we just said, know their goals, know their style, know their motivation, really get to know what makes them tick. Pillar number 2, influence your boss. That's through persuasion, which that comes off as a bad word, but all it really means is like, look, here are the facts, and here's what we know, and here's why I think my idea is workable. It's also influencing through credibility, reliability, relationships, communications, just really having a good working relationship with your boss. And finally, the 3rd pillar is delivering results. Overperform, create success. We'll touch on this one again in a little bit, but one of the huge pillars is you've just got to be really, really good at your job. You have to be a high performer in order to help influence it, because otherwise you've indicted your own source. If you are not a great performer, then your leader won't necessarily be influenced by your ideas. All right, so have I ever done this effectively? I think I have, and it was with a prior boss years ago, and here's what happened. So on the number 1 pillar, understanding, so this particular person wasn't really interested in the business line. They wanted to move up, and they were very upfront about that. I tried educating this person about how our area works, and here's what they should be looking for, but really had no interest, just wanted us to take care of it. All right, so then we went to pillar 2. How do I influence? So the way to get through to this particular leader, because I know that their motivation is nothing but being promoted, is to make the leader look good to superiors, right? That's what they're in it for. So keep doing well, keep running the team, keep running the department, despite not getting credit for it, making him look good to superiors so he would get promoted. Now, that does mean I had to do all the homework, but it was for the good of the department, right? And then finally, the 3rd pillar, delivering. So I was consistently rated as a top performer, knowing that leader did in fact see my efforts and give me very good reviews and great feedback, and so therefore trusted me as a leader, which really only helped my brand to the overall organization. That may look a little strange, right? Like their motivation was clear. They want to move up. They were not interested in the business unit that we were in charge of. So that got that leader exactly what he wanted, even though it wasn't necessarily what I wanted. But in the end, everything got done for the team. Everything was delivered on time and all was good. So here's what didn't work though. It got him promoted, but I was left in the dust. Like I said, it did increase my brand and stock, but still I got nowhere from it because everything that got delivered was delivered under the leader's name and nobody knew how much we had been working on it. So again, this is the gambit you run into sometimes. Leading up is a tool which can be used for good or bad, right? The good is that rising tide lifts all ships. The bad, though, is that you can get left at the dock. That's why I'm so conflicted about leading up. But isn't it good enough that the work got done and the clients were happy? Even if your good graces were exploited, getting the job done is number 1. But if that leader does it to you once, they'll do it time and time again. So the only real solution in those areas is get off under that person. Fool you twice, shame on you. All right, that was a little dour, so let's look at a more positive look on the process. Let's go back to Marty Moore again. He boils it down to the number 1 thing you can do to help lead up, and that is do your job. Very simple, right? But ultimately, managing up has really nothing to do with your boss and much more about what you need to do to achieve the results for the team, and that is, in fact, your job. So, if you're concerned about doing all the work and not getting any of the credit, I think I've cracked the code. And it started with this quote from the Count of Monte Cristo.
Between those times, we can work all day without fear of discovery.
So, neglect becomes our ally.
Excellent.
Yes, so neglect becomes our ally. In the story, the prison's lackluster guards made it easy for the characters Edmund and Abby to devise their escape. So what does this mean about leading up? Well, as Marty said, do your job. And I've said it before, you work for the company, not the boss. So do what needs to be done, including reminding your boss of what needs to be done, doing his or her homework, etc. Do whatever it takes. But when it comes to the superiors knowing who delivered it, don't let it happen to you. Let it happen for you. In this case, your boss basically is giving you free rein to do the project knowing that they trust you, you'll get it done, and that they'll get the credit for it. However, in their mind, they're just extreme delegating, right? They're not doing anything improper. So take all of it, including the reporting of the progress and the final report out. This is very important because it highlights the crucialness of communication. You own that too. So you set up the delivery meeting, draft the comms, and ask to present when this project is all done. Now, in that presentation and in the comms, list out all the stakeholders and the source of deliverables. Your name will be all over it. You control the message just like you control the project. And as always, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody's going to do it for you. Sure, their upline may still congratulate your boss, but they know who did all the homework because it's all there in black and white. If you're going to take on the full responsibility of the project in order to get it done for the company, then you also owe it to yourself to make sure that everyone knows who delivered. So leading up sometimes means skipping a level to make sure that those even above your leader understand the work that you're doing. So bottom line, doing what needs to be done is what being a boss is all about. Remove any negative emotions you have about the leader that may be in the way or that you may be doing their homework for them. Flip the script and quietly lay their game out on the table so everyone can see. That's how you will level up your leadership. So ask yourself, are you being led from below right now? Take a look at your interactions with your reports and ask yourself, is anyone trying to lead up on me? And is that really even a bad thing? Does that show that they're not getting what they need from me and I need to step in and really lay my cards on the table and find out, well, what more can I be doing for you? How can we improve our relationship, etc.? Your people should help you, right? That's part of their job. And so the same, you should help your boss, right? You're all helping each other to get the job done. It's just important that it's all done responsibly and that everyone gets credit where credit is due. So here's what you can do right now on the topic of leading up. Now, step number 1 of leading up is knowing your boss, right? So do this. Write down the answers to these questions about your leader. Number 1, what is their goal? Number 2, what are their priorities? Number 3, what is their decision-making style? If you don't know these answers, find out, do the research, and write them down and make sure you fully understand it. Then you can start leading up the right way by knowing your boss, by learning how to influence them, and constantly delivering a high-quality product. You can do that, right? I'm going to do the same thing, actually. I'm not sure if I know all those answers, so I'm going to do the homework as well. But hey, otherwise, thank you for your time. I'm Patrick McGranahan, the Boss Coach. Make sure to thumbs up and follow so you get notice of new episodes. And hey, please share my episodes with friends also. Coworkers, people on LinkedIn, wherever. Help spread the word. I really appreciate it. Also, when you see those little videos based on the content of the discussions, those are kind of cute, but help forward those around too. Might get someone's attention. Send your comments, of course, as always. I'd like to hear more about what you want to hear in future episodes. But until then, I will see you next time on The Boss Coach. Back to work, boss.
Thank you for joining us today for The Boss Coach, hosted by Patrick McGranahan. We'd also like to thank our associate producer, Hannah, and consulting contributor, Stephanie. Original music provided by Sono AI Studio. All statements and opinions by our host and guests are solely their own observations and may not reflect those of their contemporaries or employers. Please check out other episodes of The Boss Coach for more valuable opportunities to level up your leadership. Until next time, I am your announcer, Ava. Have a great day, and as always, lead with your heart.